Hey, everybody. It's your buddy Pete. I thought I would take a moment here while Nathan works on his technical stuff on his side to say hi to you all. I don't get often enough time to do this like in the old days when we got a chance to hang out a little bit more. So I thought I'd say hi. Hi, everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah. And if whatever holidays that you celebrate, I hope it's a happy one for you. And if you don't celebrate a holiday this time of year, of course, you know that I'm glad to celebrate that holiday with you, whatever you celebrate that holiday. We've got a bunch of things going on. It's crazy this time of year. I've been teasing some things that we've been working on. I can't get into too many details, but I can tell you it does appear that I'm making a feature-length documentary. Wow. And I can't talk anything more about that, but I can say that now that it appears that is going to happen. We are a long way from the goal line, but it is happening. So I'll be very busy, and you will see possibly a little less production. We're doing our best to maintain the pace of production on the show, but it's going to be hard between travel and everything else to always hit the mark. So you'll see a little bit less here and there, and I'm going to have to take some breaks because there'll be some behind the scenes stuff that I have to do. But they'll still have the great old breakdown show, and John will pick up the pace a little bit on his end sometimes, filling in as host. But yeah, it's pretty exciting. So we're working on several things, some other projects as well that are also sort of coinciding. One of the things that I haven't had a chance to talk about too much in the clear with you folks is we've also established a thing called the Ground Truth Center. The Ground Truth Center is a means of establishing a clear channel of communication to foreign policy folks. So the policymakers, the legislators, I'm talking to you, legislators, and the theorists, the academics who want to help the U.S. foreign policy actions happen. Well, I'm a practitioner. I'm a ground truth person, and we want to speak directly to them because we have to have not only principled behavior in our foreign policy, but we also have to have more accuracy, more achievable, and more realistic goals with our foreign policy. So that's what the Ground Truth Center seeks to do. And to that end, we're going to have a summit on the 17th and 18th of January in Washington, D.C. So if you're inclined or local enough to attend, hey, please come out and come check us out. And what will we be talking about? Well, some of these things, and to be a speaker, to be part of what we're doing. Everybody's welcome to join, but we prefer people that have been shot at and had to go out and do that. Why do we feel qualified? That's a good question. When the U.S. foreign policy is not achievable, when it's not, look, you know what? We have Nathan. We'll talk about the Ground Truth Center later on. Nathan's joined us. Hey, Nathan, what's going on?
Hello, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. I want you to help us start. So this is what I want you to do. I'm going to point at you. That'll be your cue. And you'll say, this is Nathan Gwilliam, and you're watching the Break It Down show. Here we go. You ready? Bam.
This is Nathan Gwilliam, and you're watching the Break It Down show.
All right, great. Hey, man, thanks for coming on the show. I was just filling the time. I was talking about this endeavor that I'm working on, and I'm trying to improve. This is just a small goal here. We're trying to improve U.S. foreign policy.
There's a lot that needs improving at the moment.
Yeah, we take on small goals, you and I, in our lives. You are taking on a very exciting goal. And you're an entrepreneur, and so am I, right? We take on these little tiny endeavors. You are trying to help podcasters with what they want to do. And I would say your goal is just as hard. It's not easy. It's not easy to podcast, right? I mean, you and I both know the instant that people say learning curve, there is a learning blockade between a podcaster and just having a podcast. I mean, it's a tornado in front of a wall that is a ladder, and the ladder is made out of knives. It's like you must climb up this thing just so you can be like, oh my God, I made it over this wall. Now what, right? I mean, it's so hard. And you were trying to help folks figure that stuff out. So let's talk a little bit about Podup and what Podup does.
Sure. You want me to dive in? Maybe tell the backstory?
Whatever you think. Where do you want to start?
So I'm a serial entrepreneur. Like you said, you and I take these easy jobs because we want no stress in our lives.
Right.
And I just sold my last business. It was adoption.com. And I was looking for my next gig. And I took a coaching program signed up for a coaching program from Russell Brunson, who I think is the best digital marketer of our generation, and paid him a bunch of money, did this coaching program. And the first thing that he taught us was publish or perish. So that's a quote from Dan Kennedy. And Russell has a thing he does. He calls it the 365-day publishing challenge. He promises you that if you publish every day for a year, you'll be financially free. And so I chose to trust Russell, and I started a show. When I say a show, I don't mean just a podcast. So not just audio, but it's creating an episode, starting with a video episode, and then having long form video, short form video, audio, blog, social, newsletter, live stream, website, all that in a show. And I published every day for a year, and it kicked my butt. It was so hard. And after a few months, I realized that I needed more than 30 different technologies to do what I was trying to do, to be able to not just produce it, but to grow and to monetize it, and all the different things that I needed. And those technologies were costing me almost $2,000 a month, more than $1,500 a month. And they didn't integrate together, and they were missing a whole bunch of the functionality that I needed. After I even had all the content created, I was still paying someone 4 hours every day just to syndicate the content and get it out there and deal with the content. And one day in frustration, I just sat down with one of my coworkers and I said, there's got to be a better way, right? Somebody's got to create the all-in-one software suite that does all of these things where they're integrated together and they're available for a reasonable price. And I don't have to learn 30 different technologies and export from one and try to get it in another one. And that was my aha moment. And so I hired a team of, the bigger the pain, right, the bigger the opportunity. And I think I found this huge pain. And I also saw some really cool statistics that showed how big this was. There's 5 million podcasts now. It's a $24 billion industry that's projected to grow 500% in the next 6 years and be a $130 billion industry by 2030.
Slow down right there, because I don't want to get past this, because we often look at the very beginning, and that's why I described this wall that you have to get up just to get to 10 episodes is daunting. And it seems so easy, like all you need is your iPhone, and you can push the button on Podbean and you have a podcast. But so what? Like, that's just to exist, to have a heartbeat, to have a baby. But you have to feed that baby. You got to carry it around, and it can't even walk yet. And it's like, well, how do I monetize? Like, oh my God, you cannot monetize your first podcast. I mean, unless you're famous, unless you have people that pay attention. And you have to do all of these things. And all of these things are the things that you're talking about, like to publish to Instagram, to have something, you have to arbitrage and to make clips. And all of these things individually take time. I used to publish to like 20 platforms, and I had to do it by hand.
That's a full-time job right there.
It is. It is. I would work 16 hours a day because I did 5 episodes a week, right? And I was editing and everything. So I shopped out the editing, and I would get the show, and I would get the completed show, but I still had to push it out. And so I had Libsyn publishing to a lot of places, but they didn't publish to every place. And so I was pushing and pushing and pushing and then doing the engaging. And so all of this stuff, it was impossible to do it all myself. And so you're trying to find platforms that do that. So like right now, I have a service called Video AI, and they make clips. I still have to pick the clips. I still have to publish them. And they added in the part where like, hey, you can log into your social media and you can push out, but you still have to type in the text, or you can have the robot guess. And the robot it's not 50-50. And I'm not knocking it, but all of these things, and that's just to publish out to those sites. You still have to go out to that site and see if there's engagement. You still have to go and reboost it. You have to go back and push the old ones forward. And that's just this one little tiny avenue of the business that you're trying to run. And so when you're saying these things, I want people to understand this is sitting on your butt time for 2 hours a day just in this one avenue of your business. And when I talk to businesses, are like, Pete, we want to start a podcast. I'm like, please don't, because unless you want to start a profit, like a cost center, small business within your business, those aren't, like, you're saying, what you're telling me is you want to start another business that's not going to make any money, maybe ever, right? And that's what I say to them, because I want them to understand the challenge that they're talking about, because the problem you're describing is so hard. And I'm not being negative here. I'm being realistic. And so what you're saying is I saw all of these blades in a fan that are all going in different directions and all take time, all take money. And I have to not only do them or oversee them, I have to fund them in time and money and effort. Okay, please continue.
Yeah. And we wonder why most podcasts fail and don't make it to 10 episodes, like you said.
Yeah.
It's because it's so hard. And we're okay doing hard things if there's a good reward at the end. But like you said, when I talk to podcasters, most of them say, I know how to produce this thing now, but I really need help figuring out how to make money from this thing and how to grow this thing. I just don't know how to do that. And they're spending all their time producing it. They don't even have time and money to go market it. And
right.
It's not that podcasting is flawed. I don't think. I believe it's that it's too much when you have to do it with 30 different technologies that don't integrate, and you're duct taping them all together. And the old way is broken. It feels like the dark ages. And so I took all of my net worth and the last 3 years of my life, hired a large, very talented team of developers, and we've been building the solution to this. And we've started raising money last year. We've raised over $4 million now. And in addition to my money that I put in, and we've launched it, and it's there, and you can go see it at podup.com. We launched it about 6 months ago quietly. It was a soft launch. Really done no paid ads for it or anything yet. We have maybe 90 people that have signed up for it so far, and we're getting all this feedback from these people, and we've already fixed about 1,300 things that have been identified, 1,300 issues, bugs or user interface issues or feature requests. We're just trying to get it working really well, and it's still not perfect. We still have hundreds of things that have been identified, but I think we have the best solution on the planet to create, grow, and monetize a podcast, as far as an all-in-one solution in one place. And a year from now, everything we have on our plate, we're going to have probably 20 more AI features that are in there, and so many more things will be there a year from now. But we think we have the solution, and we're on track to make it even better.
These are the things, like there's so many times where someone will come in, and look, I get pitched things. I've been around for a long time, as you know, and I get pitched things all the time, like, hey, come try our thing. It's a community, it's this and that. I'm like, I don't have time. I'm so busy trying to run my podcast, and everyone's always offering me help, and I'm like, all right, I'll come check it out, because I do want to be part of the marketplace. And I'll look, and I'm like, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to go to your site to go and participate in your program. But I look at what you're doing, and I'm like, oh, okay, there's help in my workflow here. Like, okay, if I put my time and effort and my money into this, I'm going to get something back. Like, I always get told, I'm going to pick on TubeBuddy. You see how much time and money you saved? And I'm like, not really. Like, not really. Like, I go spend time on their Discord server. If you put me on a Discord server, and I don't know if maybe you guys have one. I'm sorry if you do, but
we don't.
I'm not getting, huh?
We do not.
What's that? Okay, yeah, and I'm engaging with people, and I'm getting answers from people who are below me in podcast world in terms of experience and answers. Like, I can't. That's not helpful to me. Like, or if I hire a coach from there, because I've done these things, and they're like, what you need to publish the same. I'm like, what, you have to have answers that are way ahead of me, and to be able to identify real things. Don't just give me banal answers, and so what you guys are talking about with the workflow and taking things that should be connected and connecting them, boy, that is I don't want to say rocket fuel, because that's so tropey, but that is really, really, really helpful. We're like, why do I have to have this thing, and now I have to march it out to these 5 things? and then I have to go back and then march it out to these 5 things. There's so many things where it's like, now I have to go. I'm just that you solve this problem, but it gives me these 5 new problems, right? I know you're feeling my pain on this because
Yeah,
there are so
absolutely.
many things. It's like now I'm on Facebook, now I'm on Instagram, and I still have to go out and I'm still the salesman. I'm still the marketing guy. I'm still the PR guy. Oh, and by the way, I'm still got to do all my pre-production and all my emails and all these other things. And I'm a firm believer in I have to be the communicator. I have to do it. I'm not going to automate those things. For me, I don't like to use any kind of automated calendar thing. Like I'm not going to send any. It's just Pete. I'm not
Yeah.
going to send a link out and have a link be my calendar. I am the calendar. I'm going to communicate that myself. And some of these things I hold dear because that's how I want to communicate as a human. But a lot of these things are just time consuming in addition to that.
Yeah, I love it. It's not that it's impossible. It's
Right.
it's hard. And if you're going to do something hard like this, you've got to get the right tools, right? You don't do it the hard way, figure out how to do it in a fraction of the time, and you'll radically increase your chance of success and decrease the chance that you're going to churn out of this and, waste your time and money.
Right. So one of the things I've had to do is just prune back the amount of engagement I put into not only all of these little podcast communities. I was going to make another point about the podcast communities. If they don't provide me value instantly, if they're not going to be a good business partner, if they're not going to listen, then I cannot spend time in there. Like if they have a business proposition for me that involves me giving them money because they're so valuable to me, like they're going to have to prove it. And I don't mind spending money, like StreamYard is the service that we're using right now. And I can talk about them.
Great service.
Great. I cannot get their attention and say, hey, listen, I don't need the capacity for more people on this screen. What I need is greater control over audio. Ding, 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 ding. StreamYard, greater control over audio. Ding, 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 ding. And they refuse to listen. They won't even give me a response on email. And I'm like, so here's what this does with Pete. I am looking for a better service at all times.
Yeah.
And the second someone gives me greater control over audio, because I don't know what people hear. I only know what I hear. And what I hear is not what's going out, right? The person that gives me that solution and allows me to have control like a professional service would, man, I'm gone, right? I'm always looking for something that's going to improve my show in terms of quality and that workability piece. I mean, it's vital. And if it's going to be Riverside, I'm gone tomorrow. I will leave whatever my annual subscription money is behind because it's a more professional thing. And I don't think a lot of the services get that. Like I have produced over 1,500 episodes of this show. I don't know when I'll get to 2,000. Maybe I'll count. Maybe I'll never again count. But I know what I need. And if I can't get someone's attention, I'm not going to use their service, And here I am. I'm talking to you. You're someone that does something that I need. And I love that about you.
Well, I would love your feedback. I would love you to go into Podup. I'd love you to use our recording studio. I am sure you'll have dozens of things you would like us to do and improve to it. And give me that feedback and let us go work on it. We're going as fast as we can. And that's why we need real people in the system. We kind of got to a spot 6 months ago where we needed to stop building what we thought people wanted and get real people like you in there, experts like you, so that you can tell us what you really do want. And because there's no way I would have identified everything that you want. So please tell me and let us go build it for you.
Now, I didn't realize you guys had a studio. Do you also push live out to social media?
We do. We have a live streaming platform. And it's a multi-stream and it's a dual stream. So most podcasters, when they go live on one channel, like YouTube or Instagram or something.
Right.
So this allows you to go live on your own platform, on your own site, and then you simultaneously can syndicate it to your platforms, and you can invite your guest and give your guest, if your guest gives you permission, you can syndicate to their platforms at the same time as well.
Nice. Yeah. You can do something like that here as well. You can, they can put their credentials in and push to their site. It's a little bit unusual for people to get that offered to them. And I haven't figured out how to communicate that as a host
Yeah.
to other people. But yeah, and I also don't. A lot of my guests don't have like a desire to do that. That would be weird for them because a lot of
Right.
them aren't in the business of pushing out things. But that is a good feature, and so I will look at that. I promise that I will take a look at that when we're offline. Some of the back end stuff is interesting to me because there's so much back end work that I simply don't do because it's laborious and I'm not all that interested in doing it. And a lot of my work takes me away from that stuff anyhow. So I've kind of just cleaved to that part of the business off and said there are too few opportunities there. So I don't work on it. I don't make a newsletter. I purposely have never developed an email list because I didn't want to be focused on leads because I don't have a product focused on leads. I produce things like where I was just talking before you came on. I'm involved in producing a feature length documentary. And I've got a couple other documentary type projects that are nascent. Maybe they'll grow into some kind of project that I see if things have legs and I continue to work on them. So I'm not worried about leads, but it doesn't mean that I'm not interested in developing leads for different projects.
Yep. Absolutely.
So what back end things do you offer though for someone who's in that kind of market, who has a podcast or someone who asks the basic question, how do I monetize? How do you help people monetize?
Yeah, absolutely. So on the monetize end right now, we have a course creator, kind of like Teachable, where you can build your own courses. And we are working on an AI uh, course creator feature. So a lot of people, they want courses, but they don't have, it's a little too much to go create the course.
Mm-hmm.
So we're actually leveraging AI to help people create their courses, and that's coming soon. And then we have an e-commerce module similar to Shopify, so you can sell digital or physical products. And then we have an ad server, so it's ads and sponsorships.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have kind of an affiliate manager where you can use affiliate links throughout and have a central management system. One of the biggest problems people have with shows have with affiliate programs is the programs change. They change their links, they cancel their programs. And so they might have 20 links or 30 links across their different pages for a certain affiliate program, and then it turns off, and then they have these broken links, or they're linking to a program they don't get credit for anymore. So we have a centralized affiliate management system where you can manage that link in one place, and if that affiliate program changes their link, you change it in one place, and it changes it everywhere on your site where it goes. So it makes it easy to kind of keep control of your affiliate programs.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Is there one of the things that when I get pitched affiliate things, I say, affiliate programs are typically good for the provider, not really good for the affiliate.
Yeah,
And it takes pretty big numbers, right? Yeah. And so I would love to see an affiliate ranking, because like I know the one affiliate program that I work in that I find extremely valuable is Barry Katz. He has this fantastic program, like legit fantastic for everybody involved. It's great for Barry. It's great for the people that he mentors who join the program. And it's great for me as the affiliate. And so whenever I can, I purposely send people to it because it's worth my time. And I know that the people I send there, like I'm not selling fucking mattresses, for $10. Hey, the second I say, hey, it's not worth my time because it's not worth $10 to say, hey, you should buy a Casper mattress, right? But if someone's like, I've got this entertainment idea, or I think I want to be a comedian, Barry Katz is the guy. And so I'm like, you need to stop what you're doing, get over to this program and buy it, and just put Pete in the code. And I'm telling you right now, if you don't do it, you're fucking crazy, because Barry Katz, he broke guys like Dane Cook and Jay Moore, and I know this dude. And so like that for me, I don't even mess with the other ones because they're not worth my time. Like Libsyn's tried to fix their affiliate program for years. And again, ding, 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 Libsyn, I can help you. And they're like, yeah, we don't need your help. And then I'm like, okay, great. And then I'm not going to bother with it. And like, we got this guy. I'm like, I don't care. You're obsolete. So like that ranking thing is interesting to me. Or just, I don't know, it's so hard with the affiliate thing because you're right. The person who's in charge of it, it doesn't work. That person quits. They get a new person. They reinvent it. and then you go to communicate with that person, and they're not even. It's just that stuff's a mess. It's a mess.
And even when you do have, I hate affiliate programs, by the way.
Yeah.
I hate participating in affiliate programs. And the reason why is even if you get the link right, it's based on a browser cookie. And if I have, how many computers? I have three computers sitting, 4 computers sitting on my desk. I have 2 laptops.
Yeah.
I have my phone. Yeah. I have my iPad, right? We all use so many different screens now today, right? And so I follow your link, but it only counts in this browser. If I go to a different browser, if I find you on my phone and then a week later I'm ready to buy and I go for my laptop, the referrals, the company that sent the referral doesn't get any credit for it. There are so many ways that affiliate programs don't accurately track. And it's a great deal for the business doing the affiliate program, but unfortunately, it's not so great for the other person. And I think the vast majority of traffic you send to someone, you don't get credit for.
Yeah, I have an Amazon affiliate program, and I am the all-time greatest clicker on my own link. I'm like, well, someone's got to click on this damn thing, and I'm just stubborn about it, so I do it, and whatever, I get a little check for $11 every now and then.
Yeah, the Amazon program, when it first started, it was pretty good, but I think they're down to an average of like 3% or something like that commission that they pay. And man, you have to send a lot of referrals before you make money with a 3% commission.
Yeah, and that's the thing is what you don't realize getting in the podcast game, and you have to have such big numbers to make that worth your time. And when people still don't get on the podcast angle, like, to this day, people are like, "Oh, Pete, I see you working so hard. Is it ads?" Like, well, that tells me, one, you're not listening, which is cool. I don't care. I'm past the point of trying to push my show. I'm like, nope. It takes 100,000, really $1 million people to make any kind of real money, because the numbers are still the same numbers really as radio. Now, look, you can have your own little pocket. Maybe you'll make a lot of money out of that. But ads are ads. People want to buy on numbers. But what really matters, and this is what I tell anybody getting involved, like, if you've got 50 people that will give you $20 a month,
yes,
there's a little bit of money there that will cover your costs, and you'll get somewhere with 50 people giving you $20. It's not a lot of money, but that will get you somewhere. And fuck Patreon. Like, that's one, they will get between you and your customers. Two, they'll put your peers ahead of you in terms of what they promote. And 3, they change the rules whenever they want. And you're like, what? Like, that's no good. So you don't need them. And I don't know if you guys have something like that, but you just need, and I'll just say PayPal. You just need any kind of transactional device that will take a very normal, like 2%, 3% rate off of your $10, $20 thing. And if you can't put 50 people in your queue, then you need to think about, should you have a podcast or not? Because if you can't do that, then you probably should do something else, because you have to be able to kind of bootstrap your own little mini audience.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a great question. We have a module that is coming. It's slated for 2024 on our roadmap, and it's our membership module. And it does what you're talking about, but even more, where it builds out a membership site, and you can have courses in there, you can have community in there, you can do group coaching in there, promote your, the people that are members, to help them promote each other. There's a lot of features in there, and you can charge a recurring fee for access to that, a monthly recurring revenue stream. And I highly recommend, if you're going to do a podcast, that you do it around a recurring revenue stream. So you have to make sales every month all over again. You look at someone like John Lee Dumas, he has Entrepreneurs on Fire, and he has a membership site called Podcasters Paradise. And I believe he's made over $5 million in recurring subscriptions just from that simple membership site, $97 a month. So find your recurring revenue stream. That's probably the thing that's going to get you where you need to be. And I don't think it's ads that's going to get you where you need to be. 96% of people today don't trust ads. And we do everything we can to avoid them and get through them and get by them as fast as we can and block them and find a better way. Another one that's working really well, another monetization strategy that I would recommend is paid episodes. If you have a lot of followers, once you've built up your following, there's a lot of people today that are doing pay to play, and they will pay to be on your show, and put that out there. And you'll probably, once you have a bunch of following, you'll probably have way more people that ask to be on your show than you have time to put on your show, than you record episodes, and charge a fee. And that seems to be working really well. And because it isn't perceived as an ad, it's perceived, this native content. It feels more real and authentic and credible.
Yeah.
It actually does a lot better for your sponsors than an ad does.
You guys have a lot of services. I'm looking on here, and there's a whole different background page too with other services you offer. One of the biggest things that every podcast needs is to exist, and it's so hard because the algorithms are a dragon you can't fight, because it disappears on you, it changes on you, it morphs, and so you need PR. There's just no way around it. You have to have PR to help you fight these things, right? So how do you guys deal with PR?
Yeah. So today PR is a little different than PR was when I started my career. PR initially, 28 years ago, whatever, was writing a press release and sending it out and trying to get on a TV show and trying to get in a printed newspaper and trying to get in a magazine. And those things are still good. And you still should try to do those things. And there's some really good agencies that can help you with that. And the secret to that is give them value. The biggest mistake podcasters make is they try to write a press release and they try to get a show, they try to get an episode in one of those publications about their show. And nobody cares, right? That's not newsworthy. Right. What you have to do is you have to go out and give value. I had a friend who, he called himself the locator, and he wanted to get on all sorts of media. And so he would reunite people on there. He'd find long lost relatives and he'd find them and reconnect them and do that on the air. And he had hundreds of media presences because he gave value. He was doing something in the media that people actually wanted to watch. And find that value and give that value to the media, where they have a great story when you're on that drives the ratings that people, and it'll be easy for you to get PR. But if you just go and say, Nathan Gwilliam just launched this great new podcast, you should all go subscribe, the reality is it's not newsworthy. So find your value. That's the most important thing. But today, so we talked about, that's the old school media, and still do it. Don't stop. But PR today is a lot more than that. PR today includes blogs, getting blogs to write about it. It includes podcasts to cover you. It involves YouTube and doing videos. It involves, newsletters. It involves, all the different ways that people could promote you. Think a lot bigger than the old school TV, radio, newspaper, magazine, right? There's a lot more opportunities than there were before. And Russell Brunson teaches a concept called the Dream 100. And there's a lot of other people that teach it too.
Sure.
Make a list, find the 100 best publications that already, or influencers that reach your target audience, find their contact information, find their following. You're probably not going to get the top ones on the list when you start. You're not going to get the top ones, right? You're going to probably have to start lower on the list if you're prioritizing it based on their reach and their traffic. That's fine. Start lower, build your following, build your credibility. And you want to know what the secret is, Pete, of getting those people to cover you? Pete's doing it right now, today. And I did it with Pete earlier this week when I had Pete on my show. The secret is to have a show. If you want PR to work, the best, 100% hands down, best way to, other than being a celebrity, right? If you're Barack Obama, you don't have to do this. But if you're not a celebrity, you need to have a show. And
Yeah.
by having a show, you go invite all of those Dream 100, all of those influencers in your niche onto your show. You build relationships with them. You get them to know you and like you and trust you. Like I had Pete on my show within the last week, and now Pete has invited me on his show. And a lot of influencers will do the same thing. If you have them on your show and you promote whatever it is they want to talk about, right? Don't charge them anything, right? Give them free, let them shamelessly promote whatever they want. A lot of them, if you do a good job, are going to invite you on their show. And that's
right.
how you move into PR today.
Yeah. That's smart. The other thing too is people will often ask me, how do you get people on your show? And here's just a little secret. You ask. You just ask. It doesn't matter how famous they are. You ask. Like there's this kid that look, I'm 54 next month, so I'll just I call people kid now, and he has these great dirt bike videos on Instagram, but his dirt bikes aren't dirt bikes. They're Hayabusas, and he's got a Honda Goldwing, and he's doing dirt stuff on a Honda Goldwing. He's modified it a little bit, but this fool is riding around on a Goldwing going up and doing hill climbs. And I'm like, this is awesome. I don't care if he's famous or not. Like people love his videos, and so I just reach out to him. He doesn't know me. And so I'm like, hey, man, I'd love to talk about this insanity that you're doing on my show. And he's like, what's your show about? And I'm like, it's about fools like you and me who do foolish stuff, and I love it. And he's like, let me think about it. He'd never heard from me. And so, now maybe we'll do it, or pick a famous person. And I ask. I don't assume no. I just like, hey, this person is doing media. Let me ask. And then they're into yes mode anyhow. And so sometimes and often they say, yeah, I'll do that. And so that's one of the rules. The other thing is like with your Dream 100, if you can, you get directly to them. And a lot of these people, everybody has an email address. Sometimes you can find it. Sometimes you find their PR person, and their PR person is in there like, hey, if I can, they get paid to put them on things. And a lot of times they just don't care. They're just like, let me just get them busy doing things. Because that's their job is to get, and they don't want to sort out things. They want to sort things in. And so you just get in line, and then you become a normal person for them. And you become a person who they're like, put them on this show because you're a professional, and that's it. And you become professional because now you're a destination. And that turns into you being a place. And then you get to be a thing. You're like, hey, I want to go on things too. And they're like, yeah, I'll put you in the queue. The other thing with your Dream 100 is handwritten letters is great. Just send a handwritten letter, right? Put it in the mail. Because here's the thing is nobody gets mail they want anymore. Nobody gets surprised like, holy cow, someone wrote me a letter. You think about this. When was the last time that you got something in mail that you wanted, that you were happy to get, that you didn't send yourself?
Right.
Like,
You didn't buy on Amazon.
Happens. Yeah, right. And so when that thing shows up and you're like, holy fuck, someone took pen and paper and sent me something. Hey, this is from a guy named Pete. And it's a letter, and they'll read it. They'll read it. And they might be like, oh, that was nice. And they might throw it in the trash. Or they might be like, fuck it. I'll do that. This guy took time to write me a letter. He's going to come to my house. He's going to record a show. I'll do that. Why not?
I agree.
And
printed letters are so valuable today.
Oh my gosh, it's like,
especially.
and then there's another level above that is you send it FedEx, and that it gets a little pricey, right? It's not just a stamp, but you send that, and they're like, FedEx, and open it up, and they're like, this is really important, and then they read it, and they're like, oh man, this is adorable. This guy sent me this thing, So you really can stand out from your peers by doing these things. And you can book guests or you can get on their show. So you send something to Adam Carolla, who has a lot of shows to fill. And you're like, I would love to be in your show. You send your little, you send the handwritten note with your little pitch. I'm telling you, that's going to work more often than you think.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Can I share a few thoughts about booking guests?
Please.
So this is what I found. And we've helped a lot of people start booking their guests. So at the beginning, before your show is launched, you have no credibility, very little. Unless you're famous, you have credibility from something else. But if you're not famous like me, when you start your show, you're probably your first 5 to 10 people are going to have to be people that are doing it not for the promotion, but they're doing it because they like you, right? So go find people you already know in your circle of influence, and those are probably going to have to be your first audience, right? People that already have a relationship with you that do it to help you. Okay. Then you launch your show, and the show's out there. You got 5 to 10 episodes. Then you don't have a lot of reach for the people yet. They might do it for like your future episodes, but they know they're not going to get a lot of traffic yet. And so that group of people I have found it's really good to go after the low level influencers, or it's really good to go after authors. Authors are really interesting. I've had huge success with authors because they just want to do anything they can to get promotion for their book. So I'd recommend you go find all of the authors in your niche who've written any book related to your topic, invite them on the show. Plus, if they've written a book, they've paid the price to learn the topic, and they're probably going to add really good value on the show. It'd probably be a real high quality episode. Authors is a really good place to start, or the influencers that don't have very much following, right? Don't waste your effort going after the big influencers yet. And then you're going to build up. And at the beginning, set your expectations, right? Put 200 people on your list, and you may only get 20 to 40 of those people that say yes, right? But you get your first 20 to 40 people, but it's a numbers game. Expect that you'll have to identify and ask 200 people to get your first 20 to 40 guests on your show. Then as time goes on and you hit 100 episodes, there's a lot of really big influencers that have a mantra where they say, I will be on any show that has 100 episodes. That is a very common mantra to have. And I would try to get to 100 episodes as fast as you can. Yeah. Because once you hit that point, it opens up a whole nother door of people who say, okay, this person has paid the price. You know, they've learned what they're talking about. I'm sure they've got a following if they've got 100 episodes, and they're willing to jump in and take a gamble on you. And then you start having a lot of people who come and ask you to be on your show, even with you not having to reach out to them to do it.
Yeah, that's a great point. And when you get those, look, the pre-production is a lot of work, and you have to sometimes ask more than once. You have to be patient. You have to think, because I'll tell you right now, if you send me an email, there's a decent chance you're going to get overwhelmed by the waterfall. I'm just going to miss it. And I have great intention of getting back to you. So I try to respond to everybody. But sometimes you just got to ask twice and remind me. And I'm like, oh, shoot. And I'm more likely to say yes because I have not met my own standard. So don't be shy about saying, hey, this is a gentle poke. And I'll say just a gentle poke. I wanted to see if maybe you missed this email. And then the person almost every single time is like, oh my gosh, Pete, yes, I meant to get back to you, because I do it too. And I understand. So and by the way, Ron Jackson, who you just responded to too, Ron is an author. He's a good friend of mine. And, you're 100% right. He works so hard. He's trying to figure it out. He wants to sell books. You were talking directly to him when you were saying that stuff about authors. And authors, academics who write things, these guys are all looking to get. Podcasting was invented for these guys who are like, they write these books from a point of passion. It's their business, and they're trying to get attention for their work. And sometimes there's a profit motive. Sometimes it's just like, I've done this work and I want people to understand the thing that I've found. So I'm glad that you got a chance to chat with him briefly, even if it was just through the interwebs. But when you start to get these 10% of people to say yes, talk about it. Like, hey, maybe you saw, I just recently had Ron Jackson on my show talking about this topic. You might know his work. Now, there's a little bit of a spy trick in there. So you're like, so Ron wrote a book about the Battle of the Alamo. And so if that person is in any way in the Alamo world, if they don't already know, you're going ding, 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 ding. There's something about the Alamo you need to know. And you're like, oh, you've had someone about the Alamo. Oh, and that's a huge bona fides for them. And if they do know Ron's work, they'll be like, oh, yes, I know Ron's work. I'd love to be on your show. So like, it's like a double whammy where you've made a very normal thing. And so now you've jumped up a tier in that part of the world. And yet now, if you talk about Texas history or whatever it is in general, you're going to be able to say, hey, person of a higher order, than say Ron. We're using Ron in this example, like he's a lower cut. Ron's awesome, but you're able to climb up the ladder and say, I've had all these authors on of all this type of thing. And then you can start to collect the awards, Pulitzer Prize, Peabody Prize, Oscar, Emmy, all these things. Man, that is how you book people. And they go, oh, all of my peers have been on the show, or all of these incredible athletes, or whatever it is. That's how you normalize that. But you have to do that by earning all of the pegs in the board within your niche, right? And if you're going to be niche, I'm not niche. My niche is no niche, but whatever your niche is, just start winning those people. And all of a sudden it's like, yeah, of course I'm going to be on the show. Everybody else has been on the show. How come it took so long to ask me? And then bam. Yeah. Adam Bird, by the way. Adam Bird has published a fuck ton of podcasts. He knows all this stuff too. Clapping to you too, Adam.
Yeah,
Adam's
congratulations, Adam. One secret when I invite authors on that's worked really well for me is when I book the author, I almost always try to buy their book. And then I try to at least skim through it before the meeting. And then I try to hold it up while I'm doing the interview. And when authors see that I'm willing to buy a book and I'm willing to hold it up and promote it and advocate for the book and talk about their book, it makes it a lot easier to get other authors on the show.
Yeah. A genuine interest in the book, trying to find something unique about the book when you do it. Yeah. No, these are big things in terms of booking people on the show. And this is part of that existing thing. Like, to publish shows is to exist. But back to the PR part, because again, this is a trick, right? To get people to want to see your show, to know that you exist. Because right now, like this show will go out, but YouTube crushes long form content. And I've turned my podcast off because it was a cost center. And I've put that money towards really towards PR, because I'm doing a traditional PR push right now. And when that budget money runs out, I'll reassess, reallocate, and do something else. I would say that if you're going to run a podcast, you have to have a budget. You have to. I mean, look, you can shoestring for a minute to get started, but there's some amount of money you have to allocate. I know your service costs money and it's absolutely worth it. What would you say what's the amount of time you can kind of just shoestring and bootstrap, but then what is the amount and when do you need to start saying, I allocate? And Adam, if you're listening, when do you think, when do you need to start spending money, and what is a reasonable monthly budget for someone who's going to start for doing a podcast, and maybe give the type of podcast you're talking about when you get that budget?
Yeah, there's a big spectrum there. So
right,
I see it as a continuum, as a spectrum. And on one side of the spectrum, it's people that have lots of time but don't have lots of money. Okay.
Right.
And then on the other side of the spectrum is people that they don't have very much time. That's their scarce resource, but they do have money. And they're willing to pay for people to do the time and to put in the time and help them. And so you've got to ask yourself, where are you on the spectrum? We all fall somewhere in the middle of that spectrum, right? I know some people are probably on the far extremes, but I think it's not a question of when your show should make that transition. I think it's a question of where are you on the spectrum. If you're in a spot where you have plenty of time and you want to do it yourself, right? If your dishwasher breaks, are you going to Home Depot yourself and you're buying the part and you're fixing your dishwasher yourself? You're on this side of the spectrum. If you're going to call the first company and you're, Google Maps, Google my business and get them out there and not worry about it, not even, you may be on this side of the spectrum. And the same concept applies to podcasting. You just got to figure where you're at. And if you don't have the money to hire someone to help you, then you're going to have to do it yourself. If you've got a little bit of money, it can make podcasting so much more fun. The first things that people usually contract out are just some simple editing of their video, editing of their audio, maybe getting someone to help them write the blog post, maybe getting someone to help them get their content syndicated out there, maybe getting someone to help them book them on other shows or book their guests on their shows. Those are the first initial basic tasks. Maybe having a producer that kind of helps manage the episode all the way through to completion. And I'd start there. And there's a lot of people that will do, for a couple $100 an episode, will do a lot of that functionality for you. If you want a full producer, it could cost up to $1,000 an episode. If you want, really want the white glove approach and everything done for you. So somewhere between a couple $100 and $1,000 an episode to produce it. Then you're going to get to a spot where you say, okay, I'm producing it just fine now. I know how to do this, but I need to grow this thing. I need some marketing help. And it depends on how much you want to do there, right? Do you just want to run some ads? That's the basic one. Do you want someone that's booking you on other shows? Do you want someone that's building your incoming links for your shows? Like there's a dozen, 15 different tasks that could be pretty effective to grow your show. And you've got to fit, if you just want someone to run your ads, you could probably get that for $100 an episode and get someone to manage it for you and do all that. If you want someone to take care of all of your marketing, you may be, $500 to $800 an episode, right? It just comes down to when you're ready, and you probably won't start with all of that. You'll just start maybe with just paid ads and, add additional marketing initiatives as your budget allows and as your following has more ability to fund that.
Yeah, and this is an interesting thing that I struggled with for a while is what am I marketing, right? Am I marketing the show? Am I marketing me? And am I marketing a specific project, right? Like, what are you exactly marketing? Like, are you trying to buy audience? And it's such a challenge too. What are your thoughts on that? Because again, my show wasn't niched, and maybe that was to my detriment, although for some reason it's worked out to my benefit now. But what are your thoughts on when you market, what you pick to actually take to market?
Yeah. So I'll tell you where I think the ad dollars are absolutely best spent. 100% best return on your investment is to create a really good lead magnet. A lead magnet is something you give away for free. It could be a mini course. It could be a webinar that's not just a sales webinar, but it's a value webinar. It could be an ebook, but people are getting kind of sick of ebooks a little bit. It could be, I've seen some just be really simple. It's just a checklist or a cheat sheet or something, but something that provides insane value. And I actually recommend that you do like 5 of them and you try them and test them and find out which one gives you the best ROI, or you even rotate through some of your best ones. So it's not always the same one. In this type of business, your greatest asset is going to be your list. It's going to be the names and the contact information of the people who know you, like you, and trust you. And we were talking about before how when you built on another platform like Patreon, they control the contact information. They control your ability to contact those people and reach out to them. It's like building a skyscraper on land you don't own. And it's a horrible business model.
God,
you got to get away from it as fast as you can. And the way you get around that is you build your list, right? On every single episode that you publish, you promote a lead magnet. You give something away for free to your following. Like on my show, it's a show about podcasting secrets. Excuse me. And we give away an ebook, how to monetize your podcast. Right. And it goes through and talks about 25 or 30 different strategies for monetizing your podcast. You can download it for free, but to get it, you got to give me your contact information and you join my list. And I think that's where ad dollars are best spent, is promoting your lead magnet and getting people onto your list. Because once they're on your list, you can just send out every episode to those people. Send out a once a week or once a month newsletter. And it'll pull people in a lot better than trying to get them to one of your shows and watch one of your shows, and then they don't remember about you in the future. It gives you a recurring marketing reach, just like we talked about having a recurring revenue stream, right? That's recurring revenue is the holy grail of business today, and every business should build themselves around recurring revenue. The same concept is true with marketing. We should do recurring marketing strategies. The way to do that is own the list, and then you own the land that your skyscraper is built on.
Yeah, boy, it's because people say two things a lot in the podcast world, and I want you just all to hear this. They'll say, "Are you making money from ads?" Because that's the traditional model from radio, and they don't understand the podcast world. So tell them that they're adorable, have them be your friend, and then ask them for $10 a month, and then understand that the other thing they're going to say is, "How about Patreon?" That's a good way to go. Tell them that they're adorable, love them, ask them for $10 a month, and send them your link, and just get them to give them that money. The other thing they'll do, the third thing they'll do is they'll give you work to do. This is what you need to do. And then you'll say, you know what? I know how to fill my plate with work. To get a bigger plate, I need you to give me $10 a month. And if they don't want to put money down, that's fine. They can buy you lunch. That's fine. You don't need more work. There's plenty of work on your plate, man. I'm telling you right now. But what you're saying about the Patreon and not owning the land, and the next time Patreon gets in between you and your audience, it will not be the first or the last. They just cannot help themselves. They even have a political ideology problem where they will use their politics to get between you and your audience. So, and they just did this again, I think last month or right now. They're doing it. And look, they're just not a good. Here's the thing: you have to look for good business partners, people that will allow you to do what you're trying to do and not get in your way. And this is not a political statement. Just look for good business partners. Are they on your side or not? YouTube, not a good business partner. They will hide things from you. They will turn the lights off on your business. They have a lot of people.
Smaller percentage of the ad revenue whenever they choose to.
Yeah, whenever they choose to. Yes, they will absolutely do that. They will take ads and they will put them in front of your stuff and not give you any of it because you don't exist enough for them. These are bad business partners, right? Apple won't give you any money. They won't give you any data. They will make you follow their rules. These are bad. So you're tempted to go with these brands because you know who they are, but really they're pirates. And they will shake you down for money, and they will work your content for money, but not give it to you. So understand those rules, please.
You know what, though? It's okay to work with those people. It's okay to work with Facebook. It's okay to work with YouTube. It's okay to work with Instagram. It's okay to work with Amazon, right? These third-party platforms. The one thing you have to remember, though, is they're going to make the decision that's in the best interest of their shareholders and not what's in your best interest. And so what you have to do is what we've been talking about here. Every time you post out on another platform that you don't own, you have to put a lead magnet in there. You have to do something like a vacuum cleaner where you're sucking people off of those platforms and getting them onto your platform that you own. And that's your list, your website, your membership site, something that is your land. And that's how you'll have your long-term success.
And if there's anything that's a better lead magnet than sucking people off, I don't know what it is. All right. Listen, that's a great way to wrap this show up. A good double entendre. All right. So anything in closing other than throwing the link up here on the window that you want to say, Nathan? And thanks for coming on the show, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on today. I'm sorry it took me a few more minutes. My video wasn't playing. I had to restart my
That's
TV.
All right. We're all over that stuff.
Logo up here.
You're good. Anything you want to say in closing?
No, if any of you are interested in doing a podcast and want to look at the all-in-one podcasting solution, check out Podup. Feel free to email me directly. My email is just nathan@podup.com, and would be happy to set up a demo and
doing it right now. Podup.com.
Yeah.
For a demo.
Yeah, feel free to reach out, and happy to help you however we can, get you a free trial, and help you make your podcasting dreams a reality.
I'm telling you right now, I will help you get started. I will show you the dragons. Nathan will help you do all the other stuff. Do it. Create something. It's hard, but it might be worth it. And here's the thing is you don't have to make any money. You can meet people that will blow your mind. And that is enough. So just get started and create something. All right, stand by. I'll be right back to you, Nathan.
Hey, thanks for watching the show. I really appreciate it. Right here, you can subscribe. Please do that. It makes the show grow. Hit that notification bell so you know which incredible guest is coming up next. Down below is the PayPal link. You can put a small subscription in. That is an enormous help. All that money goes right back into the show. And then right up over here are the next episodes you should listen to, curated by yours truly.